Yeah. So this is take 2. Gen X, are we adults yet? Our favorite childhood memories are now illegal. So many things we took for granted. Most of our childhood has been outlawed. Gone are the days of jumping in the back of your friend's pickup for a quick ride home, or meeting your best friend Eric at the boys' 2-story steel slide before school. No longer do we have a smoking section for real or candy cigarettes. I had a Honda 125 3-wheeler. I had a slip and slide and a crocodile mile. I still wish I had my jarts. Raise your hand if you were ever spanked at school. Kids today will not know the joy we had. Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Greg.
We are Gen X, and welcome to our podcast. We're the last generation to grow up without internet. I'd like to thank each and every one of you again for a whole nother week for tuning in and hanging out with us and spending your time with us with this podcast. So thank you guys. Shout out to all of our audio listeners and our Monday crew. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every Monday when we launch and being faithful. So most of you guys since day one. Remember, we do have an entire audio library that is over 2 years old over on Podbean, genxaway.podbean.com. There'll be a link in the description if you want to catch some of our earlier stuff. It's pretty good. We love it. Anyways, thank you to all of our video watchers out there, all of our viewers. Thank you. Gen X, thank you for showing up and representing in the last couple of weeks. Our channel has really grown. We have had a ton of growth. A lot of people checking us out. A lot of people giving us some love. A lot of people subscribing. So thank you guys to all of you who have subscribed over the last 30 days or so, to all of our subscribers. And thank you for right now hitting that subscribe button and smashing that thing down for us, letting us know that you are also either Gen X and watching the show, or just letting us know that you enjoy what you see up here. So thank you guys. We greatly appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to give a shout out to our co-host, Greg. Greg over here. How you doing, buddy?
What is up?
Tell us something bueno.
What's something good? You know what? I got to do a cool project this week.
Tell me.
And I just kind of wrapped it up last night, this morning, sort of spent the whole day on it yesterday. I got to design my first beer can label.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to have a beer.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of cool. So it looks like an actual beer can, like we're making a beer. So it needs to have all the stuff, like a beer can.
And it needs a label. Absolutely.
Yeah, a name and a story and everything that goes with it that makes people want to buy it. Yeah.
Yes.
Whole thing.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
So give us an early hint. What kind of themes are we throwing around the table right now? What are we looking at? Hopefully, what are some things on the drawing table?
Old West shootout.
Wow.
That's the theme.
That's a beer, and it's going to be cold, huh?
Yes.
Ice cold Western beer.
Yep. An American blonde ale.
Going to be dusty on the can.
Yep. Going to be a good one. Getting to work on cool projects is the cool thing of this week.
We are about to tell you some of the of our best childhood memories are now illegal, banned, or voluntarily discontinued.
Yes.
I'll tell you right now.
So much banned
due
stuff.
to safety reasons, right? As we make our way through the list, I want to make sure that we vote. We agree with this ban or discontinuation, or the fact that it's not here anymore for the betterment of mankind, or we disagree. Hey, we think these things should be coming back.
Yeah,
so let us know in the comments for every single one of them.
Safety regulations, safety rules.
Safety rules. When we were throwing around ideas for this episode, the first one everybody thought of was riding in the back of a pickup. Riding in the back of a truck is one of my most favorite childhood memories. We wrote that was the thing to do, and it was so cool. It was so fun. We knew where to ride just to be safe, in the corner over here or a corner over there, or if we had to if we had to sit anywhere not against the cab, then we were like laying down so the wind wouldn't take us out or would be safe.
Yeah, going on the freeway kind of sucked.
So let's be clear. We are put in a shallow metal box with no lid at 55 miles an hour down a freeway.
Yes.
Finding the safe spot inside that box with no lid, right? It was instant death. It was a guaranteed injury. It was horrible. There was one time when we were helping a family member move in the back of a truck, and my buddy was sitting on the tailgate with his feet in the back of the truck, right? And they just took off a little bit. His feet came up from underneath him, went over the top, hit the back of his head. He hopped right up and was all dazed. And we had only moved a foot or two, right? Just enough to jump him. It knocked
the
him
clutch.
silly. It knocked him silly. He was trying to get in the driver's seat to go, oh, well, I'm going to finish driving. I need to drive. I'm driving. We're like, bro, have a seat. You bumped your...
You are concussed.
You are concussed.
That reminds me of this story about Billy Ross. Remember Billy Ross? I think they were on those windy roads up like Highway 4 or something like that, and he was in the back of a truck, and the windy road went like this, and he was just sitting on the wheel well or something, I think, and the truck came out from underneath him, and he landed in the road, and I think that messed him up pretty bad too.
Damn.
He got all beat up and road rashed.
I believe it.
Yeah. You just rode in the back of a truck on a trip up to the lake with all your friends.
And you're the one who messes up the good time. Got it. Well, on January 1st, 1986, California was one of the first states to change its seatbelt laws from secondary to primary enforcement, meaning we are now actively looking for seatbelt violations. This law also included people sitting in anywhere in the vehicle. It didn't outlaw sitting in the back of the truck, but it did say all passengers had to be in qualified restraints or in a seatbelt, which meant a lap and belt, and then another point, a 1 point harness or whatever they call them. There
was some cars came out that with seats, rear facing seats in the back of the truck. You see those?
Yeah,
like the Subaru or something did that.
Those. I think they had the roll bar over the top.
Yeah.
And the big KC lights. Or the big lights with the KC covers.
And a couple rear facing seats with the seatbelt.
What KC stood for. I'll put it up here, but tell us what KC stood for. I don't know what it stood for right now, but I knew they had covers for all the rack of lights across the trucks and stuff. I always called them KC lights, but that's just...
Any light on any truck is a KC light. They're like the chapstick of lights on trucks.
Just chapstick.
Yes.
Because my lips hurt real bad.
I just figured it's some dude, like some dude's initials. Casey Kasem.
Kevin
Carlson. Yeah, some guy like that.
So regardless of whether they were in the front or back, they had to be in a seatbelt, which pretty much killed getting rides home. We got a lot of rides home from Lauren. I did. We lived next to each other. But and Alan in the Ranchero gave us he gave a lot of people rides. I got to ride in the front seat, depending on who else was coming.
He could fit 4 people in the front.
Yes. So overall, I agree with this one because it is an instant injury, near death, or death. It's almost a guaranteed really bad day.
I think it's bullshit, but I agree because I have children and I don't want them doing it.
It's so easy to get thrown out. It's so easy for somebody else to come and just hit you, and you're just gonna or just get bumped.
And you just have the Bugs Bunny jump at the right time.
But then you're still traveling at whatever speed. You're gonna hit the ground.
Not if you jump. Then you just stop and everything goes underneath you.
How many of you had the luxury of going to school, especially elementary school, and especially the early years of elementary school, having metal playgrounds? The rocket slide, that infamous 2-story slide with a cage around it that went to a point, and you could climb up each level with the little stairs and the little ladders and stuff, and had the little whoop-de-whoop slide that went all the way down, or that basic metal slide that was about 9 feet tall. It was all steel. It was all smooth and shiny and stuff from being worn and used. It wasn't sharp or edgy or nothing.
That thing wasn't 9 feet tall. Those things were like 19 feet tall.
They were big. And you stood in line, and like 8 kids could stand on the ladder, and then you took turns going down the slide, but that thing would heat up over time. That thing would heat up like in the summertime, or anytime it was in the sun, it would get super hot. Or some kid would go down with wet pants, or it would be wet somehow and make it all sticky. Not sticky, but you wouldn't slide down it anymore after it was wet.
Yeah.
That one kid always ruined it. Now, that wasn't me. It was not me. I didn't do that shit. Anyways, it's not just about the slide. The jungle gyms.
The big metal dome that you could just climb in that had whatever hexagons.
So the hexagon, right? Remember the domes with the big hexagon shapes?
But that thing was 12 feet tall too, wasn't it? Seems like it.
You could hang from the middle of those.
Yeah.
Right? The older ones that were more like a cylinder wrapped with like rings going around the edge with a bar over the top and a center pole down.
Yeah.
You could climb in an inner space and then on the outside, but you got to the center pole, then you could slide down, crawl out through the bark, right?
Yeah.
And then there was the all-purpose, completely cube of cubes, jungle gym.
The jungle gym.
The monkey bars.
Yep.
Right? Those things. And I'm telling you, your childhood is not complete unless you have busted your crotch, guy or girl, because girls had their own. Boys had their playground. The girls had their playground. They had all the same stuff, right? Unless you have fallen and busted your junk, busted your crotch somehow in some way, or fallen and knock the wind out of yourself.
Yeah, I landed in the sand. Thought you were gonna like do one of those cool Olympic jump and then grab the bar and your hands just slip
And you just flip
land on the back of your neck.
and knock the wind out of yourself, right? Or on the rings where you could just skip, play rings, swing on the rings.
I miss one of those.
Or, so we could race really fast. We could skip one, go down and kick the last one and race back. And then we have like relay races, right?
Yeah.
Is your childhood really complete unless you got them blisters? And we thought that putting sand on your hands, which it kind of dried them out a little bit. I thought that the sand would like take the blisters away or keep you from having blisters. And it didn't matter. We got blisters
More
right across the
abrasive,
hands. From the rings, from the monkey bars. We had the uneven parallel, not the parallel bars, but like little hang and drop bars, and then a little higher one,
Yeah, you could put one knee over and do the little spinnies.
Yeah, the little cherry drops or whatever they're called. And then I remember getting the par course. It was built in around the perimeter of our fence, and every so often you're supposed to jog it. Every so often it'd have a marker and like some kind of tool you could interact with.
A little exercise.
Exercise to do.
Yeah, a little incline bench for some sit-ups or something.
All that shit.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyways, all the metal playgrounds. Shasta School had the badass rocket slide. Everybody, that was the shit for the slides. That was the top of the slides. That was the
30-foot chain on the swings.
Yes, you could climb on the outside of that slide. You could swing those. You could roll those chains up on the swings and make them shorter. You can make them longer. You could jump so far from those swings. Is your childhood complete? Having never jumped from a good quality blue strapped bottom or even the black bottom strapped swings with the big chains and clearing the sandbox?
Yeah, like having to limit how far you go so that you stay in the sandbox and don't land in the grass.
Because they always, like today, there's a swing set just down the road at the school, and they seem to put the edge of the sandbox right in the sweet spot of where you're going to land.
Yeah.
They're like well, I'm going to land there. I'm going to break my ankle, right?
Yep. Terrible.
Bullshit. I disagree. I think all kids should have the experience of getting the wind knocked out of them, of busting a knuckle or an elbow, or hitting their head, or having some kid land on their face.
Yeah, blisters.
Falling down. Blisters on your hand.
Yep.
Busting your junk once or twice growing up. You know what I mean? And those blisters on your hand. I think everybody gets that. I don't think that happens anymore with the little, I don't want to call them sissy playgrounds, but with the safe, rounded edges, bright colored, safe ones that don't get hot. They give you static electricity. They will shock the shit out of you. I think I just saw something
that said 70, something on the low. 73% of kids are overweight now.
They don't play enough.
Yeah, they don't do enough of this.
They're not climbing.
That's because of these soft-edged plastic playgrounds, man. They're no fun.
What do you guys think about this next one here?
Okay, everybody, come outside. Everybody ready for a wild, wet ride?
That one's so bad.
Put it on your lawn, turn the water on, then you run, and you're sliding on your tongue. Slip and slide. Slip and slide. It's a lot of fun to play when the spray goes all the way. Slip and slide.
Slip and slide comes with plastic slide and fasteners from Whammo.
Whammo. All the most dangerous shit came from Whammo.
What's wrong with slip and slide, you say? Well, nothing so bad. There was some back and forth. There were a lot of injuries due to the slip and slide. The idea was that you're supposed to run as fast as you can and then throw yourself on the ground and slide across this plastic that's wet, and you were supposed to just get wet and play in the water, right? Because that's what we did in the 70s and 80s. We just played in the hose out front.
Which probably works good between the ages 3 and 8.
However, they found they were getting a lot of injuries from the adults. Adults, apparently, when you throw yourself on the ground and try and slide across the ground, were tending to hurt their back a lot, hurting their neck a lot, hurting the hips, anywhere in the spinal.
After 8 beers and some ribs.
Right. Hold my beer, I can make it.
Yeah, seriously.
Right. And you got some long-haired Uncle Hippie guy.
And they make it look like it's 90 feet long and it's only like 12 feet.
It's not that long. It's really not that long, right? So they put Whammo put a warning on it that said only children should use the slip and slide.
They tried that first.
That
was level 1.
That's where they ended.
The lawyers.
That was it.
That was it?
As far as I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, the lawyers were like, pull the plug on this.
Pull the plug on this one. We had a crocodile mile also.
Same idea, right?
In the late 80s, my little brothers, they got a crocodile mile, and I was a little bit older. I was already in high school. Yes. It is that you run, you slide, you hit the bump, and take a dive.
with a ring. Wasn't there a ring of water?
There was one with a ring, yes, and you went through like.
What do you do when you see a
splash.
crocodile?
You run, you slide.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Take a dive.
It's Crocodile Mile.
Crocodile Mile.
Yeah, they even got a guy.
And the incredible boomerang bump that sends you flying. But watch out for the crocs.
You run, you slide. Hit the bump, take a dive.
You see that kid come right to the end of that pool, right?
Yeah, they're not showing him going to the grass.
And then that
yeah, look
kid's
at
gonna
that.
hit the very end of that pool.
Yeah, there's
Period.
no way. That's not working at all.
So
That's how
here's
they made toys look so awesome in the commercials, and then when you got them, you were like, doesn't do any of those things.
and they put little warnings on them. But here's the cool thing: if you had a big brother like my brothers did, he could grab you by your arm and your leg and just basically just bowl you down and just throw you. Take one good step and just throw you
They
down
didn't,
the
they didn't
slip
have
and
to do
slide.
the running part.
You don't have to do the running part. I can get you good. I can get you down faster than
Yeah.
you can running, right? Especially the Crocodile Mile. So my littlest brothers, we had a neighbor. His name was Brian Flippy. Shout out to Brian Flippy. How are you, Brian? He was much smaller than all my brothers. There's this ages like. Anyways, I could really get a hold of him and fling him down the Crocodile Mile. He was clearing the pool at the end, and thankfully the grass was soaking wet for him. All the other splashing and just playing for the day, he could still slide across the grass. There was that much water in it because he was clearing that pool. He wasn't even making. They showed that big kid.
Yeah.
That big kid that was going to clear the pool right at the very end. That was Brian 100% of the time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he was clearing it. And that was,
sailing it.
I mean, it was almost like somebody was trying to do that. So
Well, they built a jump into a slip and slide.
yes. So again, it wasn't banned. It wasn't discontinued necessarily, but there were enough injuries, adult injuries, that they put a warning label on to tell adults, hey, this is for kids only. And I want to say that's probably one of the first instances of, well, hold my beer. I could do this.
We should start an adult slip and slide company. Bring it back.
Make it longer.
You make it longer, make it more heavyweight. Maybe put some padding on the bottom of it for all the rocks and the sprinkler heads and the sticks so you don't get that gash.
Only on your knees or your chest is where you got that
Yeah,
gash.
straight across the nips.
Yep, right across right here, a sprinkler head. Just a big old red mark, and it just burns so bad. Anyways.
But you don't stop playing.
No, you just move it over, and then you look. After the first injury, then
Yeah,
you look, then
then you
scan,
make sure.
Then you make sure. Here
Yep.
you go. Hey guys, you remember this banger? Out of touch. Shout out to Billy Joel.
Right?
How you doing?
Oh, yeah, buddy. Come on the show. That would be sick.
Hey,
We get a couple subscribers if we could get Billy Joel on the
hit
show.
us up. Hit us up. Yep. And
Is he Gen X? No,
well,
he's
he's
older.
older.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already.
he's not like old enough to be our dad, though, is he?
Well, if he
older,
was
older?
20 in the 70s, in his 20s in the 70s, we were in our less than 10s, 1920s in his 70s. He was already out of high school making music.
So he's like a late boomer.
Yeah.
It's all right. We cross generations once in a while.
When we're talking about banned toys or childhood's illegal, and we opened with not being able to ride in the back of a truck anymore, the second thing or the first thing everyone else thought of was jarts. Lawn darts.
Lawn darts.
The lawn darts. The lawn darts.
Yes.
All right. Steel tip ginormous darts that you could throw overhand. You could throw those things overhand. They were weighted in the front. They were this long. They had fins for distance.
Accuracy.
They were weighted for accuracy and distance. You could throw them overhand. You could throw them like a large dartboard dart, and you could do quite well with them. They would stick in like barn doors and the sides of like, houses and stuff and fences.
Fences.
They would stick in lots of fences. Yes. It's amazing how many I got stuck between the boards of the fence, or how many, actually cracked a few fence boards.
You need a
Oh.
pretty good sized yard to play that game any fun anyways, right?
Well,
You can't just do that in your average American backyard.
Here's my backyard that I was playing it in.
1/10 of an acre.
over a period of 8 years, lawn darts had sent 6,100 people to the emergency room.
Brain injuries.
81% of those cases involved children 15 or younger, and half of those were 10 or younger. The majority of injuries were to the head,
Face.
eyes, face,
Look right at it coming at you.
ears.
Yeah, look away at the last second, catch it in the ear.
Had led to permanent injuries or disabilities.
Yes.
However, tragically, it came to an end because of one young lady, one little girl had lost her life over it.
find this once popular lawn game in the back of your grandparents' garage, the government wants you to immediately destroy it. That's because in 1987, one of these caused the death of a 7-year-old girl piercing her skull. The following year, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission banned the sale of lawn darts and issued a strong recommendation that they be discarded or destroyed on site. And all it took was one person saying something. This guy, David Snow, the father of that 7-year-old girl. Snow spent a year and a half working to get lawn darts banned after his daughter's death, discovering that they were actually marketed as a children's toy up until 1970 before being banned in the U.S. That's when the commission caved to the dart manufacturers, according to Snow, and allowed the products back on the shelves, but with certain restrictions. Those restrictions aimed to prohibit the sale of lawn darts in a
Look at those things,
or near a retailer's toy.
There's loggers in my farm.
A 1988 60 Minutes report noted that a year prior, 1/3 of retailers in the U.S. hadn't been following those restrictions. The report also pointed to Consumer Product Safety Commission findings that all lawn dart manufacturers had been violating the warning label rule. Snow's pressure reportedly prompted a new investigation from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, which determined that the injuries children had sustained from lawn darts since 1978 actually
The warning could have said, warning, danger if you catch this with your face.
Yeah, don't try and catch this with your skull.
But you know what sucks? It's coming at you. You look up, and that's how you catch it in the face.
In fact, his crusade even went beyond the U.S.'s borders. After
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. What you should do is get out of the way.
I wonder how many of the Jarts injuries were out of anger.
Should have been like a buyback program. They can't just tell people to destroy a product. They should
On
have
site,
to buy them back.
the government, that's
Destroy
a really
on
charged
site.
statement. That's
Yeah.
really charged right there.
Seriously.
The government said to destroy them. Oh, okay. They still sold them for 8 years. And I get it. You know what? There is a fine line between being responsible for a faulty product or not being responsible for how people use your product, right? At some point, that responsibility is transferred, and it's a limited responsibility on both parties. If the product is defective or works in a way that wasn't clear or designed and is just kind of misleading, like let's say they designed a pistol that the barrel actually points to you and didn't really explain that too much, but you didn't fucking notice that the barrel's pointing. That's kind of on you, but they could be more responsible.
Like they could not make that.
They could make it more responsible. You know what I mean? It's so, I don't know. I get it. The little girl dying though just sucks. That's horrific, right? That is not okay. That is, it just, so I get it though. But they banned candy cigarettes. Can't get candy cigarettes, and I think you can still get candy cigarettes.
Yeah.
In novelty
they still
stores.
make 'em.
We're already around when we were kids, but losing popularity, I guess. By the time I was old enough to buy candy cigarettes on my own, it was kind of not a thing. It was more of a novelty, even when I was
think
a kid.
back in the day, they looked a lot more like the actual thing. Where now it just looks like a box of gum. They were like knockoff Marlboro labels and Pall Mall
And the Lucky
shit.
Strikes.
Yeah, dude. They made them look a lot like cigarettes when we were kids, and now you can clearly tell it's a candy.
And even if when you got the first one, you could give it a little puff, like a little blow. You could blow through it.
Look at me, guys.
And then
I'm smoking.
little sugar with little puff of
Powdered
cloud.
sugar. Yeah.
Little cloud would come out, and you could pretend like you're smoking because smoking was cool back then. Even
So
kids could
cool.
start smoking. So you know what? It's gum. I get it. It's mimicking an adult thing. That's it's nicotine. It's whatever. I get it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd let my kid play with the novelty at any young age. You know what I mean? When they're old enough to understand that this is just a toy and it's just
They start
novelty.
holding it like a cigarette.
Yeah, if
and
they start
stuff.
holding like this or holding their crayons like this and they're talking to me and stuff. That's a problem. I think we got to cut back on the gum a little bit, right? Smoking in public places, right? I remember my mom smoking in public places. I remember when I was a kid going through Rancho Market, I was riding on the bottom of the cart, and I remember a cigarette butt, yes, just like that, hitting the ground. My mom's sandals on her feet, just, rubbing it out, putting it out like this. And we were in the produce aisle. I remember being in the produce aisle, and that was just being normal. Other people smoked in the grocery store. Other people smoked freaking everywhere.
Smoke in the grocery store.
You can smoke everywhere. Could you imagine if somebody were smoking in a grocery store today, the looks or the comments they would get? Somebody would approach them pretty damn quickly and make sure they would not be smoking inside a store anymore. Smoking on airplanes. Smoking, the teachers smoking at school, going in on break, on recess. It was their break, it was our recess.
What's that called? The teacher's room?
The teacher's lounge.
The lounge.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they
always
would
had a
just come
lounge.
back smelling like cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
Hell,
Miss
stinking
Osborne.
like cigarette.
No, Mr. Chitwood.
All of my elementary school teachers
Yeah, most
smoked.
of our elementary.
All of them smoked.
And either way, they still smelled like smoke because they had to hang out in the teacher's lounge.
They all smelled like smoke.
Yep.
You get a close up on that plate. Ooh, isn't that?
So this is a little glimpse of what smoking was like for us. Like as kids, this is basically like this. I mean, our hairstyles were much cooler. We had bigger hair.
Serious Denny's right here.
The shape and size of it.
Put ashtrays on the
ashtray.
table. We could ask for an ashtray, and they'd bring us one.
Cigarettes just sitting on the table. Yeah, look at.
We had a smoking section. She's in a restaurant. We're just smoking away. Yada, yada, yada.
No? No. Well, I can't hear it. Come on.
Yeah, I can.
You better
Look how normal that looks and how cool that looks and how just the norm, just how cool and just how, hey, I just smoke. I just do this thing. I light this thing and smoke the smoke. That's what I do. I do
Yeah,
this.
around people. Just everywhere. Even around people
I
that
just
don't
do
smoke.
this thing. That is so weird. I mean, I used to smoke forever. I'm so thankful that I quit, but good Lord, people.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I'm glad smoking has gone away. I'm glad that, even, being a smoker myself or, ex-smoker, I am glad that the smoking has largely died or out publicly. I'm good with, they're not smoking in a movie theater. I remember smoking in a movie theater. Good Lord. You go an hour and a half without a cigarette? Not if you're a smoker. No, you're not. That's probably 2 or 3.
Nope, smoking at work, in the office.
Smoking at work in the office. Yeah,
I remember working with people to be like, yeah, I used to smoke in this office 10 years ago.
1995, California has been referred to as America's non-smoking section. This reputation came when California became the first state in the country to ban smoking in nearly every workplace and indoor public spaces. California's workplace smoking prohibition, AB 13, and became law in 1995.
That's why it's weird for us when we go to places like Vegas and shit where there's
You can
walk
smoke
in
inside
and it's full of smoke. You're like,
and drink outdoors.
It was just like this everywhere when I was a kid.
Yeah, hey, we're home. But that's the funny thing about cigarettes for me. I don't think they smell good, but they smell familiar, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that smell, and I don't want to sit around it forever, but it doesn't bother me, and to some degree, it's not like a freebie or anything. But it's just like too offensive.
Tobacco.
You know what bothers me more than just smelling it is watching somebody in their car on the freeway with the windows fucking up, smoking.
Yeah.
How the fuck can you do that, people?
Right.
I'm like, I want to roll down your window. I can't breathe watching you.
Yeah, seriously. I'm holding my breath.
Can you can you be a little more courteous to me and my needs
Yeah, seriously.
and roll down
I'm
your
just
window
looking out
when
for you, pal.
Shout out to being able to smoke in the car with your kids. Can't do that anymore.
Can't do that.
Even with the window down a little bit and cracked with it right up here to the window.
No,
when you're driving,
they will pull you over for it now, huh?
you will get pulled over. Yeah, that's not okay anymore. You cannot smoke it. And you shouldn't anyway. Thinking about it now, looking back, that's not fair.
I still see it.
That's not fair. It's just really not. I don't know. Anyway.
See it a lot on motorcycles. When you're on a motorcycle, you do, it's like your pattern through traffic is different. You see inside of a lot more cars and you kind of sit up a little bit taller so you can see in. Yeah, dude, people smoke with their kids in the car all the time still.
It's kind of dirty.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just my opinion. Anywho, all right. Here's the one that was voluntarily discontinued. The Honda 3-wheeler.
Oh, I missed that thing.
Did you guys have a Honda 3-wheeler? Raise your
110.
hand. Hit us. I think I had a 110 or 125. It was one of them. I can't remember.
I think they had all the sizes, the 150, 175. Over the years, they made all the sizes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the big bubble tires with the big knobbies on it, the big thumb gas pedal.
Thumb throttle,
the
yep.
Thumb throttle, right? Just a couple little gears. It was like a neutral and a first and second or something. It was just a little power gear and then a little travel gear. Probably 35 miles an hour, maybe 40 miles an hour, maybe
90. They felt like they were so fast.
So yeah, we had one of those. We lived in town, but my town was kind of surrounded by country all around it. It didn't take too much to get to the country, right?
Yeah.
So I would just mob out from my house. I'd stop, look down each street, and the thing's loud as fuck. The knobby tires are loud as fuck, and just mob straight down the road right out. All we had to do was get to the edge of town, which wasn't that far, and we were surrounded by almond orchards. Once you hit an orchard, you were good.
Yeah. Well, mostly.
I could
As long as you didn't run into a farmer.
We got all the way out to Manteca.
Oh, yeah.
Through the orchards.
Through orchards.
From Ripon. And never hitting the street. And once I got to the edge of town, once I hit
They
that,
hop over a few streets, but yeah.
once I hit that edge, the orchard right by Spanky's house,
Yeah.
that was it. It was a wrap.
Gone. Yep. You can get all the way out to 120 from there.
At the Rhonda and Amy's house.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rhonda and Amy. How are you guys doing? In January 1988, the U.S. Justice Department banned the sale of new 3-wheeled ATVs. The ban was a 10-year agreement, but in the end, by the time the ban was over, 3-wheelers had lost popularity. 4-wheelers were the shit, and they didn't want to go back to 3-wheelers anyway, but they did ban the 3-wheeler for 10 years due to safety.
So we could bring that back too?
Well, those guys were flipping those 3-wheelers pretty easily and just getting thrown from them.
They had no suspension. I think what really changed everything was putting suspension on
The front had a couple little shuckies. Yes.
Oh, later.
Ish.
Yeah, mine didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Hard.
I'd say this one had little black
hard
little
front, just some forks, just like your bicycle, bro. Yeah, the only suspension was the big balloony tires.
That was 1987, by the way. I disagree with the ban. I loved it. It didn't affect me. I ended up leaving my three-wheeler with my buddy Jason, so he absorbed it and sold it whenever he moved. Whatever happened to it. So, but that thing was fun. Me and Mike took it out to Honda Hills one time, and we were smashing all through there. We crashed it. We pinned the front wheel in a hole, and the whole three-wheeler just went bap over the top of us. I think we jumped in it. We did hit a jump and then had a hole between the ramp and the landing. We didn't actually catch any air. We just went into it and then pinned the front wheel and over we went.
Flip. Smashed
us right into the ground. The whole seat came over to the engine.
The mousetrap. Yeah.
The weight of everything just blap. Yep. Shook it off. We're 19 and indestructible. So both had muscles and long hair. So we were good to go. So disagree with that one. I agree with the ban on smoking public in places. Did we talk about that?
Yep.
I agree with that. We do.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Then. I don't want to sit next to. I don't want to eat my sandwich in Subway next to someone that's smoking. That's gross.
That is gross.
What's this banger?
Super elastic bubble plastic. Try it out. It's quite fantastic. Just dispense the tube, use the straw, blow up bubbles big and small.
Liars. That never worked like that.
That's about the size I ever got right there.
They fill it with helium so it could float.
And it's never a perfect sphere like that. So I remember these things. So this stuff was banned due to
class action lawsuit.
Well, chemically, the bubbles contain polyvinyl acetate dissolved in acetone with ethyl acetate plastic fortifiers added.
Yeah, look up all three of those things. See if you want to give that to your children.
So when it came out of the tube, the acetone evaporated, the bubble inflated, leaving behind the solid plastic stuff. So it was all dissolved in the acetone, right? And so you took this dissolved plastic and acetone and squirted it onto your hand like toothpaste, and then put that bubble plastic around the end of that plastic straw.
A straw.
And you put it around the end, and then you blew into it, and it made a bubble. So as the acetone evaporated, the plastic got like kind of firm a little bit. But then if it stretched too much, it get kind of wrinkly and skinny, would tear and just kind of fall apart. It only lasted a few seconds, maybe a couple of minutes.
Nothing like another commercial that's full of shit. Lying to us. That's false advertising.
The only problem was that it was marketed for and handled by little kids. Eating the stuff would make you hella sick.
Ugh.
Smelling the stuff got you high. It would give you a head change. That was one of the concerns, that the straw would fill up full of vapors and the kid would hit it first.
Yeah.
Not hit it first. I'm sorry, it's just Gen X out here, but would inhale first. There you go, and just inhale the vapors because the shit was that nauseous. It was.
Well, even if you're breathing in the general area with it, bro,
you could smell it. It's that hardcore
polyvinyl acetate.
Yeah, it smelled like super glue, like a real strong super glue. You had to keep smelling
like a marker.
Yes.
Yeah, it smelled like a marker.
Good markers.
Yeah, the badass 70s markers.
So it wasn't dangerous. We did get a little head change. The shit was pure chemicals, bro. We really had no business having it. Do I think it should be banned or discontinued? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's flammable.
Scientists are the most dangerous people on the planet, bro.
It's not really. The idea was good. It was like, hey, let's give these kids a little safe little plastic bubble toy they can make themselves and play with it, right?
Buy a rubber ball at the store already. It's like a make your own rubber ball.
My most favorite childhood memory that is now illegal, or activity. It's our memory. My memories aren't illegal. But the activity of the memory of is now illegal. Raise your hand if you've ever had a teacher spank you at school.
Oh, yeah. Back to episode 1.
I've had 2 vice principals spank me. Corporal punishment in schools. Going to round off our big list here. We got a couple of.
You were corporally punished by a full-grown adult person that was not in your family?
2 of them. Mr. Wickham and Mr. Voss.
Yeah?
Yeah. I wonder if they use the same paddle. I wonder if they're still living. I ran into Mr. Voss, I think, back in 2016, an event I was DJing. I want to know if he's still alive because I'd love to have him on the show.
Yes, more principals.
Yes. He was my principal in elementary school.
That would be cool.
That would be way cool, right? Mr. Duxbury's passed. Corporal punishment in schools. It was more common for teachers to use physical discipline, such as paddling in schools. This practice has been banned in many places due to concerns about child welfare and abuse. However, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when we first reported this, it was still legal in 17 states.
Yes.
It's most of the southern states, by the way.
Yeah. They'll still beat your ass.
Your teachers will not play.
Or they'll smash your knuckles. Whap.
They still crack your
Yeah,
knuckles and
with
shit.
the ruler.
And we did learn that most often that the wood shop would provide the principals with their paddles, sometimes making requests or sometimes making specific modifications such as a grooved handle or a wrapped handle or holes in the paddle surface as to allow more air and less friction, therefore gaining more speed.
Yes.
And impact.
And more welts.
Sick fucking teachers.
Yeah, sick bastards. Dude, parents were signing for that. So at first it was like just free reign, and then at some point they were like, "All right, you got to at least
ask permission." You're beating the shit out of my kid, bro. We have a few more honorable mentions. Drinking and driving, they're really cracking down on
Yeah, you can't do that anymore. Too bad. Disagree. That shit was way more fun.
Lax car seat laws for children. Something that about asbestos and construction. We're really not doing that one anymore.
Yeah, we got rid of that.
Your good old lead-based paint. Your paint isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, at least we're not building houses that kill you.
You can eat paint now. It's pretty safe for you. It's just latex,
It's
indoor,
all
outdoor
organic.
paint. Yeah, it's pretty fine. Sexual harassment was often dismissed as workplace banter or ignored altogether in the 70s and 80s. It's now recognized as unacceptable and now illegal behavior.
Can't just smack her on the butt.
Hey, June, how you doing? No
more of those.
No, you'd lose your job for that. You could probably go to jail for that now. That's probably a crime charge, like a criminal charge.
Yeah, battery.
I mean, think about it, right?
Pinch, like the girl pinch.
Yeah. Like that was ever,
pinch a butt.
Racial discrimination is highly frowned upon. Not that it was ever okay, but it just, these things just keep evolving.
Yeah, but there used to be a lot more of it.
It was open more, and it was more systematic, and it was more blatant, and is now being cracked down on more. So I don't know. I'd like to say that there has been a huge shift towards the help. So suntanning without protection. There's a lot of SPF talk nowadays, and everybody seems to know their SPF number. Back in the day, it was baby oil to cook your fucking body. Crisco. I remember Crisco was an option for tanning. It would literally cook your skin.
Yes.
Yeah. Get that tan though, that California girl tan. Shout out California girls. Some other things, some conversion therapy was a big thing back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, the Mike Pence therapy.
Discrimination against pregnant women in the workplace. Employers
You're fired.
Could legally fire or refuse to hire you for being pregnant.
Knocked up, you're fired.
A practice now protected under federal law.
Yes.
Protected against.
Can't do that no more. Can't just fire them.
And something about loose environment regulations, the EPA Clean Water Act. Stuff clean.
Now that I have a river in my backyard, I care about that stuff more.
I get that.
Bad guys dumping stuff in the river.
So what I'd like to close with is we found this gem on the internet. We found this little piece of internet history, if you will. So GenX, we'd like to close this episode, say thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with us each and every week. We appreciate your time, and we appreciate the fact that you hang out with us and check out our content. So thank you guys for that. Thank you to all of our new subscribers and all of our subscribers, everyone who's taken the time to smash that subscribe button down over here on the corner. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys very much. Mr. Roboto, we love that song. We know most of the words to that song, and we sing along to that song when it's on. We either love that song or we think it's dumb. I love it.
Love it.
Here's another kid that absolutely love it. I want to make sure you notice, and I want to point out that he knows all the words. His dedication to his craft here. He is loyal to the cause, and no matter what, I want you to notice the show must go on.
And the lack of armpit hair. No kid without armpit hair knows all the words to this song 17 years ago.
I'm testing for real now. I'm fucking
What is he doing, you ask? Is he really going to gargle this whole fucking song?
Because he thought that's what it sounded like in the beginning of the song. It kind of sounds, it's got like a phaser sort of effect on it.
I tell you what, Gen X, it's worth the watch. It's worth the watch. I swear it's worth the watch.
Oh, refill. Gravity. Dance moves.
And a show. It's worth the watch. I swear it's worth the watch. He nails it all.
It's brilliant.
Here we go.
Refill.
I'm not the savior. Forget what you know.
Cheat. He cheated.
So just know he's building to the big drop. There's a breakdown. He's gonna fucking kill it. All right, you guys, tune in. He's so dedicated. This show must go on, dude. I'm thirsty. I need some water. I can't breathe. So proud of himself.
Killed it.
I fucking love the internet.
Yep. That's the best Mr. Roboto cover ever.
That's going to do it for us tonight, folks. Again, thank you guys for hanging out with us each and every time. My name is Jason.
And I'm Greg.
Peace out, everybody.
Hey. That's awesome.
Mr. Roboto.
I was just telling Andy about it the other day. I was like, I'm going to try and find this on the internet. It was like 11 o'clock at night, so I didn't want to text you.
17 years ago.
17 years, bro.
Final gargle after my annoying puppy is outside. That's the title.
What else is in his channel? Has he got more stuff?